When you think of a computer, you probably picture silicon chips, right? Glowing screens. But what if I told you the very first computer, it was made of bronze, it was powered by a hand crank, and it was built over 2,000 years ago?
And no, this is not science fiction. This is the true story of a device so far ahead of its time, its discovery completely rewrote history. I mean, it changed everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. It's a story that starts with a shipwreck, a terrifying find, and a mystery that took a century to unravel.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's the spring of 1900. A team of Greek sponge divers gets caught in a massive storm and has to take cover near this tiny island called Antikythera. When the storm finally clears, one of them dives down, and what he finds is going to haunt him forever.
Those were his actual words when he surfaced, totally panicked. But he wasn't looking at bodies. He was looking at a ghostly collection of bronze and marble statues, scattered all over the seafloor. He had stumbled upon an ancient Roman shipwreck, a treasure ship lost to the deep.
This timeline really puts it all into perspective, and it's just wild. The device was created way back around 150 BCE. It sinks on a ship less than 100 years later. And then, nothing. For nearly 2,000 years, it just sits there in total darkness at the bottom of the sea until those divers find it by pure dumb luck.
And here is where the story gets really insane. So among all these incredible, priceless works of art, the salvage team pulls up this calcified green lump. It honestly just looked like a rock. They figured it was worthless, a piece of junk, and just tossed it into storage. They had no earthly idea they were holding the single most advanced piece of technology from the entire ancient world.
For decades, that lump just sat in a museum, and it was slowly falling apart. Here's the problem. Any attempt to open it would have just destroyed it. The secrets were completely locked inside, until modern science gave us a way to peek into the past without ever touching it.
And this is that jaw-dropping moment of revelation. On the outside, yeah, it looks like a corroded rock. But when scientists finally blasted it with X-rays, this is what they saw inside. An impossibly intricate clockwork of gears. A machine of breathtaking complexity, just frozen in time.
And we're not talking about a couple of simple cogs here. The scans revealed over 30 distinct, precision-cut bronze gears. Some of them had teeth that were just millimeters wide. This is like a miniature mechanical universe hidden inside that old lump of junk.
Now, unlocking these secrets took decades of cutting-edge tech. In the 70s, gamma rays gave us the first hint of what was inside. But the real breakthrough was in 2005. They brought in an 8-ton CT scanner to create a perfect 3D model of the interior. And another technique revealed something even more amazing. Thousands of tiny, nearly invisible letters carved right onto its surface.
And this changed absolutely everything. Those inscriptions, they were a user manual, written by the creators themselves. It was like the ancient engineers were speaking to us across 2,000 years, explaining exactly how to use their incredible machine.
So we know it's a machine, we have the instruction manual. The next question is pretty obvious. What on earth did this ancient computer actually do? The answer is astounding.
It was a cosmos in a box. I mean, with the turn of a single crank, it tracked the position of the sun and the moon against the zodiac. It calculated the super complex cycles needed to perfectly align solar and lunar calendars. It even accounted for leap years, and it's believed it also tracked all 5 of the planets known to the ancient Greeks.
And here's where its genius really shines. It didn't just predict that an eclipse might happen. The inscriptions show it could tell you the exact day, the hour, and, get this, even the color the moon would turn. The Greeks believed that color was a powerful omen.
But how? How did it do this so accurately? Well, the Greeks knew the moon seems to speed up and slow down in its orbit. To mimic this, they invented this ingenious pin and slot system, where one gear drives another from an off-center point. This incredibly clever trick perfectly copied the moon's variable speed. And technology this sophisticated, it wouldn't be seen again in Europe for almost 2,000 years.
And you know, it wasn't just for astronomers. It had a social function too. A dedicated dial right on the back tracked the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. This device connected the entire Greek world, synchronizing not just their calendars, but their entire culture. This all leads to the biggest mystery of all, right? Who could possibly build something so revolutionary? Who were the ancient masterminds behind the world's very first computer? We don't know for sure, but we've got 3 main suspects.
You've got the legendary inventor Archimedes, who was famous for building these kinds of mechanical spheres. Then there's the great astronomer Hipparchus, whose unique theory about the moon's orbit is literally built into the machine's gearwork. Or it could be the philosopher Posidonius, who lived on the island of Rhodes, the likely origin point, right around the time the ship sank.
But while the big-name philosophers get all the credit, we can't forget the anonymous heroes of this story. The master craftsmen who had the incredible skill to take all this complex math and turn it into a physical, working machine. I mean, they were the ones who had to cut every single one of those tiny bronze teeth by hand.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound part of our story. What does it mean that such an incredible piece of technology was created, only to be completely lost to history?
Well, the context of the shipwreck is key. This wasn't just some random accident. The ship was basically a looting vessel, carrying Greek art and scientific treasures to Rome. The mechanism was a spoil of war, a piece of a dying civilization's genius being carted off by its conquerors.
And with its loss, that knowledge just vanished. For 1,500 years, nothing of this complexity was made again in Europe. It represents a technological dark age, where the absolute peak of mechanical engineering was just lying at the bottom of the ocean.
And this is probably the most important takeaway of all. The Antikythera mechanism forces us to rethink the entire idea of progress. We like to imagine history as this straight upward line, but this device proves that's just wrong. Knowledge is fragile. Entire technological futures can be invented and then completely lost.
It leaves you with this one last, chilling question. The Antikythera mechanism survived by sheer luck. It's the only one of its kind ever found. So you just have to wonder, if this is the one we found, what other marvels, what other lost futures are still out there waiting to be discovered?